Hello everyone, welcome to this new moon in Virgo broadcast. This new moon is very important because it's going to open a portal, a big portal, open the door to a series of 3 new moons which will lead us towards a new moon with a total solar eclipse on the 14th of December 2020. The new moon in December will happen at 23 degrees Sagittarius, and at that time the Sun and the Moon will be conjunct the South Node, which is exactly the opposite of what's happening at this time, at the time of this new moon. I'm going to, because many of English-speaking language people ask me to start some classes in English, I will do that, and I will start 2 classes beginning of October, evening classes. So should you be interested in having some information about it, you can contact our school office at secretary at internationalinitiationschool.com, or you can look at the website, our school website, internationalinitiationschool.com, where you can find all the information and join us. It's really unusual. There will be classes will be video and audio recorded, and you will have the opportunity to watch them for about a week, and the audio recording will remain yours for your personal use. So it's really a new beginning on many levels, and then we need to take the opportunity of that big new beginning, because as I said, what's happening now is exactly the opposite of what's happening on the 23rd of December, the 14th of December at 23 degrees Sagittarius is exactly the opposite of what is happening at the time of this lunation, where we have a very unusual thing, because the moon is exactly squaring the North and the South Node in its ascendant movement, because the North and the South Nodes are not planets, but actually are the points where the orbit of the Earth crosses the orbit of the Moon. So these 2 points are very, very important, because the North Node represents our future. The North Node has a quality of Jupiter, so it has the energy, as expansive energy. It talks about the future development, our destiny. It's about forward-looking and advancing. It's about independence, and it's really related to the process of building of our personality through the absorption of new material into consciousness, and is also associated to the first chakra, while the South Node, which is the descending node, is also as a Saturn, the quality of Saturn, which is about limitation and karma. It refers to our past action and our past karma, but it is also the doorway to our spiritual evolution, because it helps us let go of the old way of being, and it's also about the putrefaction of our poisonous attitude, and also is a possibility for a creative expansion into the soul quality. So when a planet is either conjunct, so means on the same at the same degree of the North and the South and North Node, or is squaring the North Node, so 90 degrees, it is a very, very important time, because it's actually activating a very important energy. This specific one is a point of change called the northern bending. So it's actually the maximum northern latitude beginning to descend, you know, where we have the beginning of the moon start descending down to meet practically the south node, and then go into the southern bending, which is actually the opposite of the northern bending. So this point is called a moon wobble, which means, you know, a lot of instability, because it's really asking us to go through through a big change. When a planet is there, and at this time we have the moon, Neptune, and the sun, the moon and the sun at the top and Neptune at the bottom, there is a force, you know, the force of the planet is really activating, getting activated, and the person, everything that is related to that planet, to the energy of that planet, is going to be completely purified, because the past of, practically what it means, that the past of the personality is obstructing what the soul is going to become. So the past we need to let go of old attitudes in order to move into a new one. And the personality, which is the outer form, what we express in the world, has to really to shift, has to go really through a big change. So it is a really, really important time, because the North Node and the South Node, Rahu and Ketu in the Vedic astrology, are considered to be like a dragon. And the story talks about a dragon who was cut in two parts, and these two parts are looking together, are chasing each other in order to come back together, and to help us become one, you know. But is really, because it's very challenging, one holds the past, so holds the karmic past, and while the other one holds the possibility of a future development, what the soul could become. So it's really intense. And then this, the day of, one thing I want to say, the moon is really the planet, really, that is standing there, you know, sitting there. And the moon is, in this occasion very important, because it is the esoteric ruler of Virgo. You know, normally we think, we know the esoteric ruler of a planet, in traditional astrology, as Mercury. Every constellation has actually three rulers: the traditional ruler, the esoteric ruler, and then the hierarchic ruler. And then, which means that they represent the possibility of transformation of our life from personality into soul and spiritual energy. So the moon is the esoteric ruler of Virgo, so is asking us to dissolve the old form, the old way of being, because the moon is associated to the old way of being. The moon is the traditional ruler of Cancer, and Cancer is the sign, the zodiac sign associated to our genetic inheritance, karmic inheritance, our family, our physical house, but also our house in the sense of the body. The body is our house, and is also the seat of the foundation, so also associated to our psychological foundation, but also to the foundation of the soul. So when we consider the moon from the personality point of view, it holds all the energy of what we shape in our life. If we think about Cancer, we can consider the shell of Cancer, which is actually the mask, the protection that we show, we show the world. when we consider it from the esoteric, it means we are breaking from the old pattern, breaking from the old pattern of the personality in order to live more from a soul point of view. So what this means is that because the moon is out there, we really are asked, and Neptune is exactly at the opposite, in the opposite position. It means that we have the possibility to dissolve the old self-deceit, that the personality has nurtured until this point in time, and then we are given the possibility of really big change, because the Sabian symbol of the moon, the degree of the moon, is really, I'm going to read it to you. A boy with a censer serves the priest near the altar, which means that we are offered the possibility of breaking, leaving behind an old issue, because an old issue from the past is brought forward, so that we are offered the possibility to deal with it again. So the individual is educated, which means led away from, taken away from, led out of the point of the past to enter into a new reality. And we really need to choose well, because the degree of the moon, this new moon, is 25 degrees Virgo. So 25 in numerology is called light and shadow. Light meaning, are you serving light? Are you following the light? Or are you going to remain into the darkness? Dark is in the sense of no consciousness. In fact, this number, when gets actually positively activated, it is called the birth of consciousness. So we are giving the possibilities of breaking from the past, the old pattern, and move into something completely new. So this moon is offering that possibility. Are you following the old needs, the old behavioral pattern, or are you going to choose something different? And then the difference at the time of this new moon is given by this beautiful yod that we have, is formed by Jupiter, which is the expansion, the joining together of the heart and the mind, Venus in Leo, conjunct the asteroid Vesta, and then Neptune in Pisces, 19 degrees Pisces. So what's happening? Vesta is the goddess of purification. She talks about the flame, the burning flame of purification. Venus is the goddess of love, as we know, but then we have two kinds of Venus. One Venus, the more materialistic, profane Venus, is related to needs, what appears to be nice, the mind, the desire of the mind. While on the spiritual level, Venus is the goddess of unconditional love. And they meet, Venus and Vesta meet in Leo, which is the sign, the star, the constellation associated to following the heart. Is the constellation of the personality, so the ego personality, but is also the constellation when we need to follow the call coming from our heart, the love from the heart, and then really our true, deep inner heart will, not the will of the mind, because Mercury ruling Virgo in the traditional astrology is also called the great classified. Mercury in Virgo is not like the Mercury we have in Gemini. In Gemini is the Mercury, the diurnal Mercury, the one that works during the day, while exactly in Virgo is the opposite, is the Mercury that gets really activated during the night. So What this means is when it becomes the discriminator, the one saying this is right and this is wrong, which is actually what we don't have to do at this time from the point of view of the mind, where we need to really start connecting the mind and the heart, and then freeing ourselves from our old wounds, from the old pattern of behavior that don't allow us to follow our inner heart, our heart. Most of the time we have the tendency to say to ourselves, oh, in the past people betrayed me, people this, and we change ourselves. So we don't have to do that anymore. We have to really listen to our heart, because it's the big change and take time to do it. Because again, this lunation, we have Mars in retrograde in Aries. Mars is the ruler of Aries from traditional astrology, and it is creating 150 degrees with the moon, and it's really squaring Jupiter, Pluto and Saturn. Mars, the Sabian symbol of Mars is how do you handle the situation. We are really asked to be responsible in relation to what we produce, because what we choose at this point, because Vesta is at 15 degrees 55, so what we choose is very important, can change our life direction. And we're going to be halted because Venus is at 12 degrees, which in the Sabian, in the I Ching, means being halted, being stopped. So we really ask to stop and don't ask, because we are really tested at this point in time. We are tested in relation to how we handle things, and then if we need to meditate on the ultimate reality of existence, because we are asked to die to the old and to return to the same body. Is a will to transcendence. We need to let go of everything that was preventing us from being ourselves, and it's really a big energy moving, because it's talking about a storm that can bring the possibility of love and life, new love and life coming into our life. But it's our attitude that is going to have an important effect on what's going to happen. So we are going through this big thing. 2020 has been really very important. 20, as I said, is if you do the numerology of the word death, is 20. But 20 also means, from the esoteric point of view, gestation. 40 is death and resurrection. So something new is going to be brought about, but as the ancient American indigenous people were saying in their prophecies, this is a time of great upheaval, and is a time where we can really move into something new. Alberto Villoldo defines it as the big passage from the Homo sapiens sapiens, which is the taxonomic definition of who we are, of the nature of human being at this point in time, to Homo luminous, which is a new man living in a new way. They talk about the big shift from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, or the third dimension, from the third dimension to the fourth dimension. It's simply exactly the same. It's just simply talking about different system, the 7 density and the 12 densities, but it's exactly the same thing. Or, in other words, the big shift from the third to the fourth chakra. Same thing, but the big in this density, what we have, we believe in suffering, we believe in separation, we feel alone. In the new density, whether it's called according to the classification that you take into consideration, can be the fourth or the fifth, is the possibility of leaving suffering behind, see everything as part of the plan and getting rid of some suffering, and it talks about is the world of peace. So we are given the choice. It's a big shift that the earth is going through, but it depends on us. It depends on our choice. And this also why I also accepted to start to teach some classes in English, also for those of you who would like to really be part of this new teaching, this new energy coming, and getting, receiving the tools for support themselves in that process. So Virgo is the constellation associated to the daily life, to health, to healing, to discernment, is also spirit and matter, seeing matter only, not seeing the spirit that is behind it. But is also the sign where we have the possibility, healing comes from the etymology of the word whole. So it means going back to wholeness, going back to oneness, the possibility of healing ourselves. And Mercury is also, when we use Mercury in a positive way, becomes the healer, becomes Hermes. It holds the caduceus, the tool associated to healing and medicine. So it's a big purification, and then this big purification, because of that wobbly moon, new moon, can be very destabilize us, because if we are not centered, bear in mind that Virgo, the abdomen is about being centered, we really can feel really destabilized and then experience a lot of anger, experience a lot of heat, experience, the abdomen is the third chakra, is solar plexus, is fire. We can experience fire on many, many levels. So the Virgo rules the abdomen, digestion, the nervous system, because of Mercury, and the joints, because when we are really unflexible, we feel pain in our joints. So Virgo is olive is about lubrification, is about allowing, is about flowing. So let go. It takes away the rusty stuff from our life. And it's a big opportunity to heal, especially because, bear in mind that Leo, I'm talking about Virgo and, Venus and Vesta in Leo, can be relationship, in our relationship, but also can be how we express ourselves in the world, because yellow is about self-expression, being ourselves, the will to be. Virgo rules the small intestine meridian, so really a fire of purification. And then the intestine meridian, it's called the sort of the pure from the impure, so that the heart, which is the meridian paired with the small intestine meridian, the supreme controller, can really lead us in the correct way. So this purification, sorting out, in order to support us in a mental clarity, in letting go of judgment, or have good discernment, is the power of discernment before making a decision. So don't trust the negative mind. Take time before you choose. The moon is happening today, but remember that starts 4 days before, up to 4 days after. So the effect of this moon will be felt for sure until Sunday, Monday next week. The way we may experience it is restlessness, a sense of anxiety, depression, irritability, abdominal pain, feeling bloated, inflammation or gut inflammation, sense of pessimism, melancholy, constipation, feeling pulled in many directions, instability in making decision, not having clarity about decision. That's normal. It's the big process because we have to make decision in a new way. A suggestion I'm going to give to you. You know, I was teaching the I Ching in the last weekend, and the degree of this moon is associated to number 4, the I Ching 4, and I Ching 4 is youthful folly, youthful. What it means is that we have to let go of holding on to the past. When this I Ching comes to us, it means that we hold on to the past, to what belongs to the collective, you know, to what we were taught, and then because of that we experience a lot of anger, but we don't change. So this I Ching is asking us not to hold on, okay? Being to take a small step, but allow the inner heart, the inner guidance, because really this moon is really talking about inner guidance, to follow us. So it's really fear towards versus trust, but only if we open ourselves and allow something new, our inner heart, to guide us, you know, because things will change. And for that reason, I've chosen a piece, a quote from the Lunar Nodes of Carl Jung, the father of psychology. You know, Jung really studied astrology a lot, a lot of esoteric studies, and he really wrote many things about it. But this piece, this quote is really very clear about what's happening at this point in time, and it's for me like something I would like to share with you, read, so that it can help you move into the future. The tension of the future is unbearable in us. It must break through narrow cracks. It must force new ways. You want to cast off the burden. You want to escape the inescapable. Running away is deception and detour. Shut your eyes so that you don't see the manifold, the outwardly plural, the tearing away and the tempting. There is only one way, and that is your way of the heart. There is only one salvation, and that is your salvation. Why are you looking around for help? Do you believe that help will come from outside? What is to come is created in you and from you. Hence, look into yourself. Don't compare, don't measure. No other way is like yours. All other ways deceive and tempt you. You must fulfill the way that is in you. Take time, go into meditation, take your mind, don't follow your mind, don't follow your fear, because the moon is about survival needs. Holding on, you know, the collective, what we were taught is really about survival. Trust your inner voice. Trust God, let yourself be guided by the great voice, the great teacher that is in you and speaks to you through your deep feeling. That's the new way. And take time to listen, but clear your mind and allow the guidance, the inner guidance, the higher guidance to come to you. Follow your heart, even if your deep heart, you know, because month 9 in Aura-Soma system is the heart within the heart. It's really the deep inner voice that is hiding behind the pain and the suffering, that knows what you can become and why you've come here. So that voice is the only voice that can create peace in your heart and in your life. And then you may experience fear, but trust that that voice knows you better than anyone else in your life and anyone else in the universe. So that's the way. What you're going to create, what is going to come, is created in you and from you. That must be your mantra. Wishing you all the best for this lunation, and see what happens in the next few days. Don't worry about heat, don't worry about anger. Anger is awakening energy, awakening to who you really are. Lots of love and have a fantastic time. Let's enter together in this big corridor leading to that big time of change and abundance in December. Lots of love. Bye bye.